A reading from the book of Deuteronomy. Moses said to the people, "Now Israel, hear the statutes and decrees which I am teaching you to observe, that you may live and may enter in and take possession of the land which the Lord, the God of your fathers, is giving you. In your observance of the commandments of the Lord your God, which I enjoin upon you, you shall not add to or take away anything from it. Observe them carefully, for thus will you give evidence of your wisdom and intelligence to the nations, who will hear of all these statutes and say, 'This great nation is truly a wise and intelligent people.' For this, whenever you call upon him, that God is so close to them. Who has a God that close to them but us? Or what great nation has statutes and decrees that are as just as this whole law, which I am enjoining on you today?" The word of the Lord. A reading from the letter of St. James. Dear brothers and sisters, all good giving and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from the Father of lights, with whom there is no alteration of shadow caused by change. He willed to give us birth by the word of truth, that we may be a kind of first fruits of his creatures. Humbly welcome the word that has been planted in you and is able to save your souls. Be doers of the word, not hearers only, deluding yourselves. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God and the Father is this: to care for orphans and widows in their affliction, and to keep oneself unstained by the world. The word of the Lord.
The Lord be with you. And with your spirit. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. When the Pharisees with some scribes who had come from Jerusalem gathered around Jesus, they observed that some of his disciples ate their meals with unclean, that is, unwashed hands. For the Pharisees, and in fact all Jews, do not eat without carefully washing their hands, keeping the tradition of the elders. And on coming from the marketplace, they do not eat without purifying themselves. There are many other things that they have traditionally observed, the purification of cups and jugs and kettles and beds. So the Pharisees and scribes questioned him, "Why do your disciples not follow the tradition of the elders, but instead eat a meal with unclean hands?" He responded, "Well did Isaiah prophesy about you hypocrites, as it is written, 'This people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. In vain do they worship me, teaching as doctrines human precepts. You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition.'" He summoned the crowd again and said to them, "Hear me, all of you, and understand. Nothing that enters one from outside can defile that person, but the things that come out from within are what defile. From within people, from their hearts, come evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All these evils come from within, and they defile." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
As I reflected on this gospel passage, I found it very fitting for this week in my own life. This week, for those of you who don't know, I wasn't here this week. I was off with Net Ministries again. I go up there for a week of their training every August. And it is such a joy to me to be with them, because how much they love Jesus Christ is just so obvious. How much they love Jesus Christ is so obvious. And they're not a monolithic group. They're not all cut from the same cookie cutter. There are people from all over the country. There are people there with different political leanings. But what is the common band is it is absolutely clear that they love Jesus Christ. And here's a question that rises for most of us on Sunday Mass. Why are you here? Like, why did you come to Mass this Sunday? Why did you come? Did you come because you have to, which is okay? In all honesty, I don't want people to say, Father said, if you don't want to come, you shouldn't come. But if you feel like you came just because of obligation, it's important to recognize that's not where we should strive for. It's okay to come for whatever reason, but obligation is probably why a lot of people come to Sunday Mass. They come and some of them participate, some of them don't even participate. They just basically sit there. They can be 90 years old and sitting there saying, I came because my mother said I was supposed to come. When I was 8, she said I had to come, and so I'm still coming. Do you come because you have to? Or do you come here because you love Jesus Christ? Why do we do what we do as Catholics? It should always be because we love Jesus Christ. And what do we teach as Catholics? Jesus Christ loves you. More than anything else, that should be what people hear about the Catholic Church. But honestly, I think from Catholics more often, they hear about our political leanings. I think it's more often for Catholics to speak about why this party is wrong and that party is right, than to really speak about, you know, Jesus Christ loves you. Regardless of your political leanings, regardless of your background, Jesus Christ loves you. And in this world that has become overly politicized, even within the church, of who's the conservative, who's the liberal, and which party is wrong or which side is wrong, and frankly, they both are, sounds a lot like this passage. You disregard God's commandment, but cling to human tradition. You ignore what God has said is right or wrong, and you advertise the political party rather than what God said is right or wrong. I was going to go down this list of, from within people, from their hearts, come this list of different sins, and I was going to try and divide it up by political party and just go through it and say, look, both political parties are wrong. And I started going through the list and I thought, oh wait, all of these apply to both parties. I see both of these being either encouraged or downplayed by both of our major political parties. Evil thoughts, unchastity, theft, murder, adultery, greed, malice, deceit, licentiousness, envy, blasphemy, arrogance, folly. All of these things I see in both political parties. But how much effort do Catholics expend trying to get people elected into political parties or from a political party? And how much effort do we spend letting people know they are loved? You are loved by Jesus Christ. How many of you have ever put yard signs out for a politician or a political party or done anything like that? When was the last time you put out a yard sign that says, "By the way, Jesus loves you"? How many of you have talked to somebody about their political leanings, their external politics, and not talked to them about the fact that no matter what their sin is, God's love is greater? So many times we get caught up in the externals. Did you show up to Mass? Check it off or don't check it off. Did you feed the poor? Check it off or don't check it off. Did you defend the unborn? Check it off or don't check it off. Did you defend the refugee, the immigrant? Check it off or don't check it off. Did you defend that marriage is between a man and a woman? Check it off or don't check it off. We could go down a whole long list of external did you do things and avoid the primary question. Are you in love with Jesus Christ? That's what it's really about. All these other things are going to fall in place if you are really in love with Him enough to say, I surrender. I surrender my will to Jesus Christ. I surrender my politics to Jesus Christ. If God has said it's wrong, I believe it's wrong, even if it affects me. It's easy to say it's wrong when it doesn't affect you. A lot of people love telling people things are wrong that don't affect them. But even if it affects me or affects my family, will I listen to Jesus Christ or do I listen to my political party? Ouch. It's real easy to get caught up in the externals. But this is what God is asking for us. He wants your heart. Look at that cross. Look at that cross for a moment. And realize He died on that cross for you. He loves you enough to give everything. What is it that He's asking you to give up for Him?